Good morning and happy 4th of July. Good morning, guys. Happy 4th of July. It is Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm here with you guys. We are live inside Results One. This is not a pre-record. This is not like the whole team is off. We got business to do, and we've got results to bring you. So this morning, I wanted to do just that. Something special, and have a little bit of a conversation with someone from our News 6 staff. So you've met this guy, you've probably seen some of his material before, but we're going to pick up one of our staff members, Mr. Donovan Myrie. So Donovan Myrie is going to get inside Results One and have a good conversation this morning. Jump on in, sir.
Greetings, sir. My goodness, this thing is tall and big.
It's just ridiculous.
Nice to see you.
You too, man. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Even though we just hung out in the parking lot a little while ago.
We were just talking a little bit ago.
So this is kind of funny. Our Click O people don't know this, but so we're just now over 2 years of Results One, and you and me started this. We started this together.
We did, didn't we?
So guys, when we would do our streams, Donovan was the guy behind the controls.
I was in your ear.
Because you were the EP of, what was it called?
It was EP of, basically EP of streaming.
Yeah, everything digital and all that stuff. And now, look at you growing up here at News 6.
Well, I feel like my claim to fame is your clown horn.
Well, you created the clown stuff because, man, I was just losing my mind all the time. And you're like, we got to do something with this. And then we started the clown counter. So,
the clown counter, yes.
Donovan, man, I appreciate you jumping in with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I figured we're both working. Mine is on a holiday.
Well, yeah, I have we'll talk about it later on, but I have a story preparing for Monday, which is why I'm working today. And it's really always a good day to work on a holiday. It's a little slower. There are a few less distractions.
No management.
I didn't say that.
I did. No management in the building. Come on, guys. We all know it.
A little bit of management in the building, yeah.
So you recently became on camera with us, but you were no stranger to news. It's funny because I've known you for a while. I've known you my entire time here at News 6, and you're a book of knowledge. And you know a little bit about so much, and then there are things that if you get stuck with Donovan on a conversation, you guys better get ready because the guy knows so much. So you got a PhD, you went to Ithaca University, you went to Columbia, you went to Union.
Oh, you've been doing your homework. Yeah.
You've got a doctor's degree. Dr. Myrie.
Dr. Myrie, yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the early stages of Donovan.
Well, it was, I did most of my growing up in New York.
Okay.
I'm actually
in upstate Ithaca area?
No, in Long Island.
Okay.
If people know Long Beach, that's where I did most of my growing up. I was actually born in London. I lived in London for 5 years.
Excuse me. Mr. Fancy over here.
And did most of my growing up in Long Beach, Long Island, Ithaca for undergrad. My first job was in NBC.
Now, did you know going into college you were going to get into journalism, or was there another path?
It's interesting because I knew I wanted to get into television. I didn't know I wanted to get into journalism. And
interesting how you put that.
And most people think that's the same thing.
Absolutely not.
But we had production, we had sports, we had promotions, and there's a very wise woman that I know. Her name is Kathy Mahoney. She was my advisor, and we always used to kid around with her because she used to wear her hair up in a bun, and we always said that's another brain for her. That's how smart she was.
Because it was just so much all the time.
She was so smart, and I go in, and she's like, well, I'm brand new here. What do you want to do? And I go, I'm excited to be in college. I want to be a cameraman. And she looks at me, and she goes, if you want to be a cameraman, I suggest you save your money, leave Ithaca, go to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and get on your way. And I was like, oh.
And hearing that kind of from someone where you're almost fishing for the info, and that's the info you get, you're like, ooh, wasn't expecting that one.
Wasn't expecting that one. And then she explained to me, she goes, you're here at college so that not so much you can tell people what to do, but she goes, you're going to be a decision maker. You're going to be the the person who runs things. You're going to be
Right.
the person who owns things. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a photographer or a cameraman or anything like that. It's just she said
She saw something else.
Yes, and this is our first meeting. But she goes, "You're here. You got into this school. You're here for a reason." You know,
There's a bigger plan, kind of
and
thing.
you know, and education's always been important to me and important to my parents, because we talk about, you know, all the degrees I have, and what a lot of people don't know is I taught on the university level for almost a dozen years.
So let's be clear. What's your doctor's in?
My doctorate is in humanities.
Okay, and the other stuff?
Journalism from Columbia and television, radio from Ithaca.
Where do you get the passion? Because I'm going to slide this one in for aircraft. Because like I'm scratching my head a little bit because this guy is a genius when it comes to aviation. Where did that come from?
When I was in Dallas, I was the special projects, special events manager. So what we would do is when you had a big event, like say we're doing 4th of July today.
Okay.
That would have fallen under my department when I was in Dallas. And everything was going great until the CBS station I was working for got football back. Now, this is going to sound strange, but for a time in the 1990s, football was not on CBS.
Okay.
And out of nowhere, CBS got the AFC. And if you remember years before that, CBS had the NFC and NBC had the AFC. So when we got our football back, my news director looked at me and said, "I'm taking all your money." And it was gone just like that.
And it was done. So
Just
you
like
had to
that.
refocus a little bit.
So I had to refocus, and one of the things I did is I started creating special projects. We called them Bibles. Well, basically, if something goes wrong,
This is the guidebook to how to handle this.
this is the guidebook, and this is your information.
Hey, in my world, we've got the crisis handbook, and you revert to that, and they run operational plans on everything and anything that you think can happen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
One of the things we would say in that book is, you know, you can listen to eyewitnesses, but they're probably going to be wrong
Correct.
because they really, you know, they're not
They recant
trained
differently.
Yeah, they're not trained for things. Like, say for example, the Air India crash the other day. Well, one of the things that somebody that was noticed, and you didn't really see it until you saw the original version of the plane going into the neighborhood, was the central generator dropped.
Yeah.
When that generator
I saw
drops, that means that the plane has lost all power.
It's dead.
It's dead.
There's nothing, even a light in there working.
Right. And so basically that gives you an idea of what went wrong. They had no power. They were a giant glider. This happened up in Canada years
scary,
ago,
man.
where it's called, the story is like the Gimli glider, I believe is the nickname of the story, where the guys miscalculated their fuel, filled up in liters instead of gallons, and they ran out of gas.
Jeez, so I can understand where like your interest in that stuff, because it's something could always go wrong.
Yeah.
But on the same time, when it's going right all the time, the amazing behind the science and the engineering is just it. Like people, why did you become a trooper? And it's like all you do is crashes, and it's like there is so much more
to
to that, and you look at it, it's a math equation.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out. I could stare at a crash and be like, well, that car was going anywhere from 30 to 40 miles an hour.
And we've had these conversations where you can walk in and go, "Oh, I know exactly what this did, and that did."
And people are like, Steve, how you do that? Well, when you stand on a scene and it's 100-degree weather all day and you stare at it, you figure it out. So like within this news world, you've been going, it's got to be heavy. You got passions on the outside. I do know that you are a animal lover.
I am an animal lover. You are an animal lover.
You got to be. You have to be.
Have our animals met each other?
I don't think they have.
I don't
think
think
because
so.
of the photos. No, wait, the photos that we have are good. We're not going to give away our secret just yet. We'll
Right.
segue into that. But you do have some animals of yourself.
I do have animals right
So
now.
who is this right here? So we're looking at. I'm looking
oh,
at 3 beautiful species of animals right here. Who do we got?
Well,
So
that is Cinnamon. And that is
Cinnamon.
actually one of her favorite positions, where she will sit outside of the bedroom and just stare off. That is Mr. Finn.
He's famous.
Yeah, Finn is famous. Yeah, he's a sheepadoodle. And that is Miss Lucky, who was found by Matt Austin on John Young Parkway.
What?
And
how long ago?
About 6-7 years ago. I believe Lucky's about 6-7 years old, and Matt slammed on the brakes because Lucky had gotten run over by the car in front of her.
Oh my! So hence the name.
And she was tumbling down.
Lucky.
And he slams on the brakes, blocks traffic, scoops her up. Famously split his pants when he was doing it.
We appreciate you, Matt Austin. Thank you, sir.
And then he said, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this cat?" And he goes, "Who do I know who's a sucker?" It's not me, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, awesome. So what is it with the animals? Because I love this question when I ask people this, because everyone has a unique answer.
Mm-hmm.
Why have a pet? Why is it important to you, your wife, your family, your life?
I think there's a bit of grounding to you when you have a pet. We don't have children.
Okay.
But she grew up around pets, and she never had the time to have a pet because it is a big commitment.
100%.
It's very hard to be a single person.
It's not just a pet.
It's
a family member.
Yeah, with a pet. Cats are a little easier. Okay, they do.
Well, they come from a different planet. So I love cats. Don't get me wrong, but like you said, they're independent. They don't really need us. But I think they just like us around.
But they don't like when we're not around.
Correct.
Which a lot of people don't understand. That
But they'll ignore the heck out of us while we're standing there.
Yes. Lucky will come and she makes biscuits on me every night. I'll sit at my desk and she'll come and literally sit on my chest and make little biscuits.
I love it.
And the first time she did it, I just went, "What's going on here?" I didn't know.
She was claiming you.
She was claiming me, so I am hers. But
love it.
So we have so Cinnamon's about 14. Lucky's I think about 7, and Finn is just turning 5. So
he's still a baby.
Yeah.
He's a little teenager. Is what he is.
He's 75 pounds, and he has a younger brother who's about 101.
Wow! And you guys took him to learn how to herd and all that stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. So which segues me to our secret here. So we've referred to her. We've referred to the wife. But you have a very special bond here at New 6, and I think it does make for the power couple that you guys kind of are. One, we all love you guys. You two are amazing people. You are married to
Ginger Gadsden.
Yes,
a lot of people do not know that.
When I run into people, you and Ginger, and you guys are avid travelers.
But that's
you guys explore the world.
I think we're in Hawaii there.
That looks like maybe the Vatican?
No, that might be Europe. Yeah,
okay.
We're in Europe last summer. That was a wedding down in over in St. Augustine. I think earlier this year. So we do travel a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said,
you got me to go to Iceland.
I was just thinking about Iceland. Yes, before I jumped in the truck. A lot of people don't know that Ginger and I are married because we don't act like a married.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to see here on New 6, just flying down the car.
Car flying down the road. And his bumper cover was just dragging down the street. And the two of us pretty much stopped and just watched him go. Yeah.
Come back out.
Yeah. So Ginger is... Ginger got here first back in 2014. I was working in New Orleans, and I got here in 2016. And like I said, we don't act like a married couple around the newsroom because, again... interns come in and it takes them 2-3 months to figure out. You guys are married?
Right.
Because, we're not always on each other's desks and things. And luckily for the way that our jobs go, we don't have to supervise each other. We work together. When I was a manager...
you supervise a different department, really.
Right. And occasionally she might drift through special projects or investigative or something. But we really don't have to... We work together, but no one has to really take orders from the other person, which is
until
nice.
You get home.
Until I get home. Yes,
and then that's just how it is and how it survives, right? But no, you guys there's got to be such an amazing secret language that you guys speak that because you're in the same business. There's not a lot of people who go to work together, come home, and are able to maintain such an amazing level of energy that you guys have.
I have 2 stories for you. The first time I went on TV as an investigative reporter, Ginger and Matt were anchoring. And
that had to be fun.
And when we were done, they go back to the 3-shot, and Ginger Gadsden's sitting there like this. And later on I said, what was with the body language? She's like, what are you talking about? And I go, you need to go back and look at that recording and see your body. It was
She
just
was
really
watching her
funny.
husband do his thing out on TV.
Well, she used to be, she's the star, and she's like,
She is one of our main faces. Like,
why are you in my, stay in your lane, buddy. Go
right,
back to...
go ahead, sign off, get off the wall, and let me have my read. Thanks. So you guys do a lot of traveling.
But the second story, we had to cover the tornado in Longwood last spring.
And you guys were both out there, weren't you?
Both out there, and it was really... I got there first, and they said, Ginger's coming out to field anchor, and I went into producer mode. All right, she's coming here. I already know what I'm doing. Here's where you're going to park. Here's what you're going to do. We're going to go 1, 2. I'm going to do something. She's going to do something first, and she's literally going to say, and investigative reporter Donovan Myrie is literally 15 feet away from me on the other side of this house. And it worked really, really well the way that it was done. And when I told her that was my idea, she goes, perfect. As soon as she got there, she's like, this is great. So you do talk about that language, and we do speak that same language.
That's brings a tear to my eye. It's so cute. No, and it's fun for us because we get to see the playful banter behind the scenes and stuff like that. And I think for us, it's cool to see that kind of energy in this business. Let's be real. This is Trooper Steel on Patrol. This job's not easy.
No.
It's hard. It's not fun all the time. Now, I'm not digging ditches or standing in an intersection directing traffic anymore. But on the flip end, when you're in this and you're bringing some of the stories that you're covering home, and someone may not understand it,
right.
it could be a little difficult. And when you have that outlet, because you both know what the other one's thinking.
Yep.
It's got to be great.
And we do have our disagreements and things.
Of course. If you didn't, it'd be weird.
Right.
Like,
Interesting is Channel 6 has had a history. We've had not a lot. We've had more than our share of married people. Crystal Moyer, who just left. Yeah. She was married to Robert Brown, who's now the news director up in Jacksonville.
And see, we don't put it out on blast anywhere or anything like that because everything works so well.
Yeah. We still have Anthony and his wife, Allie. Anthony in digital, and Allie's a director. Did you not know they were married?
Learned something new today about my new 6 team. Did not know that.
You didn't know they were married?
No, I had no idea.
The last name Talcott didn't.
So you got to remember the shift I work.
You don't get to see Allie.
Right.
You really don't get
I
to
didn't
see
even
her.
know we had it. Allie, I'm going to send you a Trooper Steve little gift card because I'm sorry. I didn't even know we had an Allie that worked with us.
Oh, yeah. Well, you really
would not
don't
know.
see her.
Right.
Because she comes in the afternoon.
That shift change
Complete opposite of you.
It's funny because
mirror,
I ran into an intern that we had a nice discussion with yesterday. Speeding ticket. But I had run into her at an event. Mm-hmm. And she had no idea who I was.
I heard that, yes.
And she's like almost on the verge of like, can I help you? And then I'm like, I'm Trooper Steve. I'm one of the morning anchors. And she's like, oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
So, let's pivot a little bit. We got a lot going on at News 6.
Mm-hmm.
I focus on traffic, and when I got here, I didn't realize the level of passion you guys had with traffic. And quickly, you guys were, I'm your vent. You guys come to, Steve this, Steve that. I can't believe I saw that. And I think it's funny because I'm like, you know me already. I'm just like, yeah.
Well, yesterday we're talking about, our poor intern who got a speeding ticket. And, she was abused all day long, viewers, let me tell you.
All day.
All day.
You can't get away with that at News 6.
Yeah, it was, we basically, her parents, she lives far from her parents, and we basically took the role of her parents and just gave
There was like a little kumbaya session going on around Donovan's desk.
But, we do talk about stuff, and I brought you a picture.
Okay, let's talk to you about this, because you have a little backstory about why you're showing me this, and this is weird.
That's a license plate, obviously. It's a license plate that I happened to see in a parking lot, and I took this picture like months ago. I've been meaning to tell you about it. Steve, what's wrong with that license plate?
All right, so this is defaced. This license plate is defaced. Mm-hmm. This is becoming really popular, especially in South Florida.
I asked you about this last year.
Yes.
Because there was that guy on Instagram.
Yep, advertising that, hey, you can customize your license plate. Just mail it to us. We'll custom wrap it for you.
I'll come to you.
Or come to you and knock it out. Mm-hmm. But This is 100% illegal. So here, what you've seen is this could be maybe a Magic plate, Orlando Magic, or what do you think?
I think it's a UCF plate.
Or possibly a UCF plate. You
Right.
can almost see the sticker that they
square
put over
there.
it. The second, and I'll even put this on my cops out there and firefighters who like to put their PBA or FOP stickers or their support law enforcement stuff. Anytime you put anything other than that registration sticker, you have defaced your license plate and you can receive a ticket for it.
And you would pull somebody over for
Immediately. This is obvious because there is no such thing as a plain black license plate in the state of Florida because
Correct.
we give you 70,000 different options.
We do have quite a few.
So no, this is illegal. Instantly be stopped. I have heard a rumor that even the expressway has issued citations when they can't read it, and if they
Really?
can tell that you've defaced it, they'll send you a citation for it.
Really?
Which is, in my book, I'm all for it. But a lot of people, well, that's my right, that's my tag.
No, it's not.
Thank you. This is why Donovan and I get along
It's not
so
your
well.
tag. You rent that tag
We
from the
rent
state
the
of Florida.
tag.
Yeah.
It's basically like your fast pass. As long as you've got that pass in your hand, you're allowed to operate the car. And that is why we pay the yearly fee. That's why we got to make sure that you don't keep the stickers in it all over the corner, all over the place. Top right corner. But yeah, it looks cool. Believe me, I wish I could put like a cool blue tag on my stuff. Can't do it.
And I've, like you said, I've seen it on Instagram. Again, the guy down in South Florida who does it. I've seen quite a few. I saw a Cadillac Escalade the other day with one like that. Ginger and I were riding, and I saw it, and she looked at me. She goes, "You see it?" I go, "I see it." Because we've had
This is why I
discussions
love my
about it.
team, because I'm always getting texts on like a random weekday at 8 o'clock. Look at this car.
Look at what's this guy doing and things. And
Well, then you gotta love mid-block crossings. Some people
the person up here
walking
just,
across the street, but he didn't do it ridiculous, but still no purpose there. Come
Yeah.
on.
So, and again, people don't understand that. I asked you, "Hey, is this legal?" And I remember I have the text. You literally sent back "NO!" exclamation point.
Yes.
Like, no, like, hey, you were just no.
Because I get a lot of these questions from you guys. It could be middle of the day because you guys are just looking for a quick clarification, and sometimes I want to leave no room for a question. No, my mom would be like, if I question that, "What don't you understand, Stephen? I told you no, the N or the O," and I'm going to be like, "I'm sorry, Mom."
Well, it's, there are so many little questions that come up. I asked you about school zones yesterday because the school zone on Myrie still has the flashing light. July 4th, the light is still flashing today.
Yeah, I can guarantee there's no school today, and there's a timing issue there. But technically, you'd have to be careful through that because of summer school and certain activities that you don't know about.
Right, because you said they still have summer classes.
Absolutely.
And if you go through that, you're like, oh, there's only like 3 cars in the parking lot, but the light's flashing.
Boom.
You could technically get pulled
over.
You
absolutely could.
Right.
And we cover these kind of stories all the time, but you're focused now as an investigator. What gets you going? What wakes you up to now be the deliverer of these stories?
It's interesting. Again, I was not a reporter. We had a big reshuffle last summer, and a lot of people changed jobs. And with Mike Holfeld leaving, they needed another investigative reporter.
We love you, Mike.
I love you, Mike.
Doing great things out there, boss.
And someone had the bright idea, let's put Donovan on TV. I'm like, you want to ruin everybody's career?
You're like, those shoes I got to fill?
And it's hard. But I got lucky because I've come to reporting a little bit differently. Not as somebody who's kind of come through the ranks, but from a producer's point of view.
Right.
So I will do my stories a little differently. And we're trying to figure out not better ways of storytelling, some better ways of storytelling, different ways of storytelling. We are living in a different time now, okay? We are not just competing against ourselves, we're competing against Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and social media and anybody with a camera.
And a computer that could just say, generate this story.
And it ain't real.
And it's not real. It's not real people.
And it hallucinates and so on and so forth. So that's actually, it's a very good point because that is actually one of the things that does drive me is doing real stories. Doing a story and telling the truth and telling it accurately.
Well, I'll say this before you keep going. You did, I forget the topic, but I remember I was sitting next to Chief Candace Campos, and we get so busy in the morning, I don't hear all the news. But one of your stories played, and I stopped because it triggered me to listen, because there was a relatability to it. Like, when I'm out, people are like, man, Steve, you're going to say it like that? And I'm like, well, that's how I would say it. Why am I going to change up? There's a relatability factor to when I think we have people who live in our community who's been through the things that they're reporting on. Mm-hmm. You're not sitting there, like when I was a PIO, public information officer, I would never, suspect ran northbound. No one cares. No one cares. I'd be like, look, bad guy got out the car. He didn't listen. We took him to the ground. Don't play around. And look where it landed me. I'm working with you guys now. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel you tell your stories, from a place of understanding kind of where that story's coming from.
Yeah. A story that I did earlier this year, OUC did a rate change.
Okay.
Everybody thought it was a rate hike. It wasn't a rate hike. What they did is they said different times of the day you'll pay different amounts of money for your electricity. And the way that I did it, and we were in the middle of the meeting when I came out and did a live shot, I go, imagine your rates are here. Well, between 2 p.m. in the afternoon and 6 p.m., now your rate's going to be up here. But on other times, when you're not in that time, your rate's going to be down here. So they do balance each other out. It's now going to be up to you whether you want to use the rates or use electricity during the expensive rate time or during the non-expensive rate time.
So basically, if the people would not have listened to that story, their perception of what OUC is doing is a negative
rate hike. That's
instantly, when in return you're telling them the true guts of the story, to be like, look guys, hold on. It's not a complete rate hike. You just got to know when to use the power.
Pay attention, you can actually save money. Don't run your dishwasher at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
Run it at 8 o'clock after dinner. Or
I do that at 8 right before I go to bed. If I'm going to do the dishwasher, boom, set it, go to bed.
Right. So it's different things like that, and it's just a different way of not getting caught up in, you called it cop speak, basically.
Right.
And not just
that lingo, the job lingo, yeah.
Okay? Tell me exactly what happened. Don't just take word from word and cut and paste from a press release. Tell me what happened. Understand. Put it in plain English. That's what we're here to do. We're here to tell you about things in plain English.
But you have a story coming up on Monday that is been pretty. Let's see how we're going to do this. Not controversial. Yeah, let's put it out there. So we do have a housing crisis.
Right.
And people always say we have to do something, but when someone does something, someone's always going to complain, no matter what it is. And if we don't do something, people are going to complain.
But when we do something, people complain.
And the cycle never ends.
Right.
But you've got a story coming up on Monday of something that is going to be occurring. Right. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So what we're talking about is homelessness, okay? And the complaint part was when the city of Orlando got a building from Orange County down in the Soto district, and they said, we're going to turn this into a homeless shelter. Residents of the area didn't like that idea.
Right, there was a huge turnout for that.
And there's that's also around the hospitals. It's around Pulse. It's around that area. In case people aren't really familiar with where the place we're talking about. So the backlash was so strong that the city put the plans on hold. Okay, and it was really a little bit of like, not in my backyard. But the question is, you still have the problem of we still have homeless people.
Right. Well,
they've come up with an idea. What they're going to do is they're going to bring in buses. Okay. And the buses are coming from a company down in Vero Beach. There's the bus. It's the 407 Connect.
The Dignity Bus Project.
The Dignity Bus Project. This group down in Vero Beach, called The Source, they have built buses like this for Vero Beach. And you can see,
that's the inside of the bus?
That's the inside of the bus. Those are sleep pods.
Okay.
That bus right there will sleep 21 people per night.
Okay.
21 people off the street each night, and there's going to be 2 of them.
And this, let's address any things that, like the questions that I would think, right, as a viewer. This is sleeping only. They're not living in the detainees. They're
No.
not staying in this all day long.
Nope.
This is a place that for them to get off the street for the night, where they're not sleeping in a dangerous place, in a place that's inhumane to them, but in a place where they could sleep safely for the evening.
Right. There have been, I won't say studies. Here's the thing. You know what you're like when you're tired.
Absolutely.
You were in the Air Force.
Yes.
You know what it's like when you guys get run ragged.
Yep.
Okay? And it's very hard to think and so on and so forth.
Hey, you start to become almost intoxicated.
Right. It's almost like being
Yep.
drunk. We go through, there's a whole thing we're doing with homelessness, and it's a much bigger story. There are about a dozen news organizations that have gotten together, and we're doing a collaboration where we're sharing stories and we're combining resources. We're part of it. The Orlando Sentinel's part of it. Winter Park Voice is part of it.
Nice.
And we're doing all of these stories. One of the things we were also looking at was the people who have gotten arrested for violating what we call the camping ban.
Okay.
State of Florida said basically starting last fall, it's illegal to sleep in a public space.
Right.
As of January 1st, you can be fined for it, okay, if you don't do something about it. So we went through and we started looking at arrest records. And one of the arrest records that I saw, the person was arrested, and I was reading the officer's report, and the officer had told the person to move along, and the guy basically said to the officer, "I'm just tired. I have to sleep. I don't care if you arrest me."
That's
Because
heavy.
this guy was so tired, and he just had to sleep, and he was
To the point where he was
literally
so exhausted, he would rather sleep. He was okay being arrested and taken to somewhere to go to sleep.
just as long as I get to sleep, and it's almost like I need that drug of sleep. Except sleep's not a drug; it's something you need to live.
Right, you need
know?
to sleep in order to function and survive and to stay alive. Now, what you said, that was in the arrest report?
That was in the arrest report. The guy wrote it down verbatim. And I think even for that officer, because the officers know,
Their hands are tied.
and they know a lot of these people.
Yeah.
And, because of the way the law is written, the law basically says you have to do this.
Right.
You can move people along, but if they don't move along, you've got to,
I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people don't understand that law enforcement is not the legislative branch of things. They are the enforcement side, and that's it. And if sometimes they don't do certain things, their job is on the line at that point. And then they're controlled by a mayor or a city council that put in ordinances and things. And it's a big web of a mess.
It is, and it's and I've spoken to some politicians about this, and I think the frustration is, you've given us this mandate of this law, and from the state, it's kind of like, figure it out,
Yeah.
and this is the result. People are trying to figure this out. It will get better.
I think so.
It will get better, but we're in a hard time right now where we're all trying to figure out how to do this. Down in South Florida, they have hundreds of arrests. You go to Vero Beach, none. As far
Wow.
I asked the mayor, and he goes, "I can't think of one arrest that I've seen." So these buses are coming online soon. I think that first one that you saw will be delivered in probably the next couple of weeks.
Okay. But Monday this story airs.
The story is airing on Monday. I'll have more details of exactly who's running it. It's a private, public-private partnership. It's a really cool bus. You didn't get to see the whole bus.
But you will on Monday.
You will on Monday. We're working on the story today, which is why I'm working today.
Right.
We're putting the finishing touches on it. But it's a really cool story. And we've done a lot of homeless stories. If you go to clickorlando.com/topic/homelessness,
Okay.
You'll see all of the homeless stories that we've done. And we have done a lot.
I like the idea of simply trying something. I don't like a talk. I'm not a talker. Well, I talk a lot, but I like action. If we're going to say we're going to do, let's try something instead of, all right, we don't like the idea. Well, we didn't try the idea. Let's just give it a shot.
I'll tell you, this bus thing is interesting. 3 of them are in Vero Beach. The Source, which is the ministry down there, they built 5 in all. One of them's in Chicago. One of them's in Rhode Island. They've had people from Australia call them up and ask about it. They've had people from Utah, I think, come and visit just to see what they're doing.
Because all it is a kit, basically. You can have a bus and just get the plan and to figure out how to build this.
You can do it, but
they'll do it for you.
And they've done it, and every bus they've built has come out differently. The first bus, I think they said it slept 16. This one will sleep 21.
Love it.
One bus has a washer and dryer. This bus has room for pet kennels, because sometimes homeless people have pets.
Oh,
you know,
my
so
heart.
so it's we'll talk a lot more about it on Monday.
Donovan, you're doing great things. I appreciate you taking the time on July 4th to hang out with me this morning. Kind of made the day kind of cruise on by for me this morning,
How
especially
long have we
waking
been
up.
talking?
This is the longest stream I've done. 35 minutes, guys. I'm sure Kath Lee is sitting there going, guys, I got stuff to do. But
you,
Donovan and
Kathy.
I could talk. If we could have done topics, we could have done traffic, we could have talked so much more. But make sure you give him a follow on social. I'm trying to get him to do a little bit better on Instagram. We'll get him there. We'll get him there. Give him a follow. But if you got any questions, you need awareness brought to a topic, it's part of our investigative team. You just hit us up at theinvestigators@wkmg.com, and that email hits all of their inbox, and they go to town.
We do. We it's not. There's a lot of stories out there. We can't get to every story, but we really do try. Monday, I've got that story. I'm also going to be up in Marion County on the same day, so I'm reporting on a story and presenting a story in the afternoon. We have a very busy day on Monday. The
Awesome.
investigative team.
Well, you guys be safe out there. Please have a designated driver today. If you don't have one, then guess what? You're not drinking. It's that simple. There's a tow-to-go service. Do not light fireworks and keep them in your hands.
Nope.
I can't believe we even have to say this. Things that go boom make your hands disappear. Be aware, tonight we've had some storms kind of moving in. I wouldn't call it storms. We've got rain moving in. They've been very clear to me. Steve, stop saying storms.
Right, it is.
It's just tropical moisture. It's going to be an inconvenient kind of day.
It's not the best of weather.
But there's
4th of
like
July.
20 different things going on here in Central Florida. So find the spot, be safe, and him and I will see you on Monday.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye, guys.